From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, the waiting game begins for FSU fans, but not the waiting game we anticipated. And why are we waiting? Hindsight 2020, but should the administration have to answer for the 2024 contract extension? And we're generating discussion, sparked by Cummins. Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. warchantbogo, your promo code. Buy one, get one free. It's that simple. You can order it at Amazon. You can pick it up at like a bodega. You can pick it up at a Sunstop store, Flying J. But you won't be able to buy one and get one free there. So go to vitaminenergy.com. Use that promo code to buy one and get one free. Synergistically formulated to give you all the energy you need, plus vitamins and nutrients to enhance your focus, your mood. We could all use a little pick-me-up in both of those as we need to focus on the next steps forward and our mood for the current state that we find ourselves in. Do it with Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, warchantbogo, your promo code, warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. So much content over there as we continue to filter and process all the information around the state of the program. Hopefully you joined us during our live reaction show on Monday morning to the news that came from Michael Alford, the vice president and director of athletics for Florida State, that they're going to hang on. They're going to hold tight to Mike Norvell, at least until the end of 2025 season, it sounded like, Corey. A lot of analysis. Irish O'Fell with some great stuff. All of it's at warchant.com. Go check it out. Corey, I think you're doing all right, but let me just double check. How are you?
I'm great, Aslan. What an eventful 48 hours this has been. 72 hours. But, yeah, I'm doing good, bud. I'm doing good. Hey, the sun, beautiful day in Tallahassee on Monday, by the way.
Yeah, it's nice out here in Jacksonville. Yeah.
You know things are going well with the football program you cover, when I routinely bring up the weather.
That's right.
As like a reason to stay optimistic. So that kind of tells you what's going on with the team. But the weather, buddy, this was Monday was the Lord's Day in Tallahassee. Just beautiful blue skies, not too warm. Did a walk around my new neighborhood in a weighted vest. Things are going well, buddy. They're going well. I tried to run with it with the weighted vest on. That's a little dicey.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe that's the universe's way of showing us that Michael Alford made the right decision. It is the mailbag show. Let's just jump into one of these. Newcomer Noah Job, 01. Wake up. Why have the decision makers not pulled the trigger and fired Mike? Is there any cost savings waiting until the end of the season instead of just making the move now? Seems like we would be better off to not go 0-8 in ACC play by giving somebody else a chance to lead the team, since Mike's message is not getting across.
Yeah, and obviously, as people know that are listening to this now, I don't know if this question was asked before the announcement or the release of
10:50 at 10 a.m. Yeah, so it was before it came down.
But yes, then the announcement came down that they were going to keep Michael Alford's statement that they were going to keep him till the end of the year, and then they would look to rebound. At least he didn't put respond in the release. He used the word rebound. Look, yeah, there is some money to be saved. It's a drop in the bucket compared to what you're going to have to pay him eventually, but it's not nothing. I think we think it's about $3 or $4 million that they would save by not having to buy out the remainder of this season, these next 2 months or whatever it is, 3 months of the calendar year. So you do save some money there. That's great. I mean, that helps you buy out Malzahn or Tony White or pay for a new offensive line that you're going to need. So that's not nothing. And if you've already punted on the season anyway, to me it's short-sighted. Because more than anything, the Florida State fans didn't make the bad investment in Mike Norvell. You did. I'm talking about the FSU administration. Mm-hmm. So then don't make them have to go these next 5 games hating their football team and their football coach, because it can irreparably harm some of these relationships you have with your fan base. Like, they look around the country and they see Florida fire their coach after a win. They see Penn State fire their coach, 10 months after he was coaching in a playoff game.
Semifinal.
In a semifinal playoff game. Yeah. and yet you say you're going to ride it out till the end of the year. It's what it makes you look like. It either makes you look like you don't care that you're not winning, which we all know isn't true, or that you want to save, you want to do some cost-cutting measures, which is either way that's not a good look.
Or you don't have a good plan, and we need.
Or
more
you don't
time
have
to
a good
figure out
plan, which is also crazy because did they have amnesia in 2024? Like once your head coach goes 2-10. You better have all the backup plans you need. You didn't fire him after the 2024 season. You made him fire his coordinators, which he probably was going to do anyway. You helped him bring in these high-priced guys. But you also couldn't just go blindly into 2025 thinking everything's perfect. Thank God that's done. Now I can focus on baseball and soccer and basketball. You had to know there was a chance this would blow up because the guy had proven to you his teams could blow up. So then to be like, it just makes you look like either you're caught off guard by how bad the season has gone, which you should never be after 2-10, or that you're trying to save a few bucks, which is never a good look, especially to a fan base, the power fans, the power boosters that give you a lot of money, and yet you're trying to nickel and dime the end of this season, and you don't care about your fans. I don't know, but their investment.
Yeah, we're the shareholders. They're the shareholders.
Yeah, and not even the financial investment. I mean, just the emotional investment in this program, which is what makes it one of the best programs in the country, is the care that these people have, and that you kind of just, I don't know, you kind of disregard that when you let a guy who was clearly coaching for his career with all of those stakes go on the road, lose to a horrible Stanford team, and then get to keep his job. It makes you look like just kind of unserious in a way, and I know that's not true, but speaking I think I can speak for the fans in this one a little bit because I've had so many reach out. They feel like Florida State doesn't take this seriously. And I don't think that's true, but sometimes perception by nature is perceived as reality, and if you have these fans now perceiving that you don't care, sometimes those relationships can be hard to mend. And I was like, was it worth it? Was saving a few $1 million and getting your ducks in a row, and obviously the ducks should have already been in a row. They should have been lined up last January 1st. Worth the animosity that you've now brought upon yourself with this decision?
We go to C. Powell, 17. I was a huge Norvell guy until the final straw. I know it's a lot of money, but you have to fire him. Yes. If we do not fire him, going into Wake, his 0.0001% chance of saving his job is starting Kevin Sperry and praying he goes 5-0 as a starter. Thoughts? No. We just saw that happen down the road. We're not going to let a freshman wipe clean 3 years of data, let alone 6 years of data.
Correct. Also, I don't know that Sperry is that guy. I don't think that look, let me put it to you this way. Anybody watching that game on Saturday night, did Sperry look like he was ready to lead this thing into a 5-0 record, 5 straight wins? Did that kid look like he would handle Death Valley in the swamp well?
But they thought he was ready to go because they just kept dropping him back and being like, let it rip, buddy.
Which is crazy. But and also the fact that he wasn't even an option when your quarterback is clearly not right. Even that they wouldn't play him. It's not like they have, Tommy Castellanos isn't a guy I know Malzahn signed him 4 years ago, but that's not their guy. They don't owe anything to Tommy Castellanos. If they thought Kevin Sperry was better than Tommy Castellanos, he'd be playing. Truly. Or Brock Glenn, either one of those guys. If they gave them the best chance to succeed, they would have played. I don't even know if Gus Malzahn cares if Florida State wins. I do think he cares if the offense performs well and scores points. And he thinks, and I guess Norvell too, that Tommy Castellanos, even injured, is a much better it gives them a much better chance to score points. So if that's the case, I would just think if you throw Sperry in there, it's going to look a whole lot like I'm tired of watching. That's going to turn into 2024 again, and you might irreparably harm that kid's future, and just shake all the confidence he has out. I get what you're saying about if Sperry came out and played awesome. then yeah, but I just don't. I think the odds are
Well, like you said yesterday, Corey, it's Gus's offense. It's not Mike Norvell.
right.
So
that too, yeah. Then Sperry goes wherever Malzahn goes.
Yeah, or you
And
hire
so does
somebody
Malzahn. If Malzahn goes to Arkansas, does Sperry go with him?
Yeah.
You
hire a new coach that keeps Gus, and then Gus keeps Kevin Sperry, and then you're like, all right, we're good.
Yeah, I wouldn't think. I don't think he has a way to keep his job. The only way he can, obviously, is to go 5-0. Right. If he goes 5-0 in these 5 games, which on their face, right? But Wake Forest, they're going to be favored against Wake Forest, probably not by much. Maybe it's a pick 'em. But they're all winnable. Clemson has 4 losses. Florida just fired their coach. NC State is NC State. And you have Virginia Tech with an interim coach at home. I do think there is a possibility that they did this, just a possibility, not a big one, that they did this maybe not to even buy themselves time, to hope that Norvell can get to 8-4 or 7-5 and they can run it back and save money. But the problem with that is that line of thinking is every single fan that heard me say that is thinking about that, does not want that to happen, and probably puked in their mouth a little bit too. Like, say Florida State does go 4-1, or 8. Let's say they go 5-0. They finish 8-4. They beat Florida 20-16 in the Swamp. They carry Tommy off the field on their shoulders or whatever.
With the gator head. He's got the gator head.
He's got the gator head, right. There is nobody that is looking forward to 2026 with Mike Norvell as their head coach. Yeah. Nobody.
Don't think so.
So if that's the case, even if he won out, he can't win back the fan base, then what is the point?
Yeah.
What is the point? It's because I think your reaction is right, that would be a lot of vomit in people's mouths if Florida State was good enough over these last 5 games, which, again, why would we think that? They just lost to Stanford. So literally they can lose the rest of these games. They are staring 3-9 dead in the face. Dead in the face. But they are winnable games. This is not like last year. Yeah. Again, last year they were not competitive in many of those games. They didn't belong on the field with some of those teams. They were lucky to be only down by 2 scores in the fourth quarter of some of these games. They have lost all these games by 1 possession. They have been in these games. I think they will probably continue to be in these games. So they are winnable. But at what end? To what end? To what end, Aslan, would you want? But I do think there's a possibility that they hope that he can turn this thing around with a bye week and get healthier, and then look more like the team that played Alabama. And then you say, look, we had that 4-game losing streak. It was only my 4th. We had that 4-game losing streak, but other than that, we were great. And run it back. But I just the fundraising, the amount of funds you would have to raise to give him a good roster, to keep some of these players that are on the roster, I don't know where that would come from, because I think everybody is out. Everybody that matters is out on Mike Norvell, and I doubt that a 5-0 wet record down the stretch could win them back.
BG Walker Jr., 24, Aslan. Mike looks to have lost the team and definitely has had the fan base turn against him. From sideline confrontations where Edwin Joseph just dismisses everything he says, to a CBS report where players, a report where players are joking about having to respond. Again,
hey, who was that reporter that said that?
Chris Hummer? I think he's like national guy for 247. I'm not all that familiar with like his background, but I know that's like he's got a pretty,
I thought it was somebody like John Talley or
John Talty retweeted, which I sent to you guys in a screenshot in a group chat, because I know I worked kind of with John in Mississippi. He worked at the Clarion Ledger newspaper, and he was at AL.com covering Alabama for a while. I wrote a book with Armin Katayan, so he's over at the 247 as well.
But he was just retweeting
correct
what Chris Hummer said.
Yes.
Okay.
Clearly, everyone, rightfully so, bemoans building through the portal with one-year mercenary rentals and not building through the proper culture of the program with high school recruiting and development. These rental players apparently can't appreciate the true history and pride of what being a Seminole is and the fan base that they represent. So I am not advocating for not firing Mike Norvell if there were to be a decision to stick with him. Is there anything he could do to get the attention of the team and regain the locker room?
Yeah, I mean, yes. I don't know the inner workings of this particular locker room, like who were maybe the hard cases, who were the trouble guys that I know that wasn't the Edwin Joseph thing was not a great look. I will say this.
And he's not a portal guy either. Sorry, Carl. Edwin Joseph is not a portal guy. I mean,
I don't care about portal or non-portal.
But the question was saying,
I get it. But
part of the problem is these guys are mercenaries and they don't care. It's like, well, man, Edwin Joseph's been here for a long time. So
they're all mercenaries. Like how many college football recruits end up staying 4 years? Like even if you sign a guy, they're a mercenary in the sense that Patrick Payton was a Florida State guy until he wasn't. Yeah. Like they're all willing to go. Almost all of them are willing to go somewhere else. Edwin Joseph is one of his guys. He signed him, but I just kind of look at him as like the coaches now. They're all mercenaries, and whether it's a portal guy or a guy that you signed, if it's disrespectful, that's a huge issue. If they don't respect you in the locker room, then you're done. And I would just say, whether they love the guy or not, the way they played on Saturday night in Palo Alto, not just the loss, but the undisciplined nonsense, that tells you everything you need to know about how much they care about him and his job. They don't. So whether they were cracking jokes about, like, I guess we got to respond again in the locker room, man, he's clearly lost the team. They don't. You can't have a team that is good enough to beat flippin' Bama by 2 touchdowns and then lose to Stanford. Nobody does that, man, except Mike Norvell. Bipolar Mike Norvell. I'm not calling him bipolar. His program needs to be in a mental institution. This is insanity. To have 4-game losing streaks sprinkled around a 19-game winning streak. In one season to beat Alabama and then lose to effing Stanford, lose to a backup quarterback, just like the week before you lost to a freshman quarterback, true freshman quarterback. Like this isn't normal. This isn't normal. There are teams that can be a little bit inconsistent. They aren't like this, man. This doesn't happen. LSU didn't go on the road and beat Clemson. I know it's not a great Clemson team. And then go home and lose to Louisiana Lafayette. It defies belief. And it's the calling card of his tenure here. It's just schizophrenia with the program. It's literally, I'm using all the phrases, it's like a personality disorder. They don't know if they're good or not. Sometimes they play like they're the best team in the country and they think they're the king of Sri Lanka. And the next week, they think they're a peasant in Honduras.
Nice.
It doesn't make any sense. So you can't keep this going. Like there's something fundamentally broken with the way he runs this particular program. It worked at Memphis. It does not work here. Not with these players, not with this fan base, maybe not with the stress of this job upon him. But yeah, it's I don't even remember the question, but it is ridiculous what this program is.
Anything he can do to regain this team this year.
No. Why would we think that?
Yeah, I don't.
And also, to my larger point that I think I just made, even if they went on a 5-game winning streak, why would anyone trust that at the start of next year they wouldn't be back to being that peasant in Honduras?
Right, like, we got it fixed. We figured it out.
No,
finally,
you don't.
Right? Yeah,
you never do. Yeah. You never have any clue of what kind of team you're going to have from 1 week to the next, much less one season to the next.
What I do know is that when I show up to the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, I'm going to get a nice ice-cold beverage and some delicious food served by a friendly face. And I'll probably even see some friends amongst the people that are at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Come on out for trivia night on Tuesday, 7 p.m. Corey, you going to be there to defend the crown or just,
I will, yeah. Yeah, I'll be there. And I think Bree, who's running trivia or sometimes runs trivia, it's also going to be like a Halloween contest for the waitresses.
Ooh, nice.
And I'm not putting any business out there, and I'm not trying to sound like a creepy old man.
Uh-oh.
But they are younger, college age, mostly are college age waitresses, and we know what kind of Halloween costumes they normally wear. So if you're looking for a little extra, I don't know. I don't even know how to finish that sentence, and I'm not going to.
A little extra hospitality or
there you go. There is going to be trivia. Also, they might all come dressed as like axe murder victims. That's the problem with Halloween costumes. The ones that take it too seriously, it's like, ugh, gross.
Yeah.
Just be a nurse or a doctor. But anyway, they're supposedly going to have a Halloween costume judging event to go along with trivia on Tuesday night.
Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, cptallybar.com, the website, 2475 Appalachia Parkway.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Why would you wander around a warehouse store looking for paint when you could just swing by your neighborhood Ace? In addition to Ace's award-winning service, we have top-rated paint brands. Plus, our color matching technology allows us to match any color. So stop wandering and start painting. Head to your neighborhood Ace today.
In Crawfordville, your home convenience store is Ace Home Center and NAPA Auto Parts, located at 2709 Crawfordville Highway. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, warchantbogo, your promo code. Let's go to Dothan. Nolebacks 55, Corey, Aslan, wake up. I just want you to know that I love Warchant and all the work you guys put in, giving us the news, scoops, and content you put out. Can't wait to see you again, Aslan, and chat about life, love, and football with you. One day I hope to make the Friday meet and greet. I referee high school football, so my Fridays are occupied. Will you be at the Clemson game? Maybe, probably. I don't know. Probably.
I will be at the
You'll be
Clemson
there,
game. Is he
yeah.
asking if you will be?
Yeah. Well, I guess both of us. We can both answer.
I don't know. Are we setting you up for that game? two 4-5 loss teams?
Above
It'll probably
everything.
be me, and it might just be me, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason for Ira to go to that. I mean, I'm sure he will because he's Ira. Yeah. But we're at the point now, especially because he's not going to lose his job. Norvell, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That I don't know that we'll have more than just me up there. We might treat it like the Stanford game.
Yeah. Above everything, I love the Seminoles. I like Mike, think he's a good coach. Not saying we don't need a change in leadership. I really do think change is needed. Sometimes a change of scenery is needed for both sides. I will continue to support the program, keep my season tickets, maybe even try to move up a level in booster tier, and will continue to contribute to Battle's End. It's a great day to be a Nole. And oh yeah, F Miami.
There you go.
There we go. We got good people still, everybody. We still got lots of good folks. Island Chief, I really don't understand this unless Mike made a deal to keep the job and forfeit money going forward, because follow the money is always a truth. So break out the crystal ball. Is he the coach here next season? No. Does keeping Mike till the end of the season aid in roster retention as players won't be able to enter the portal?
That to me is maybe a positive. You don't get. I mean, they're all going to be entering the portal anyway. Everybody's in the portal every day. Essentially, they can step in the portal whenever they want, for as long as they want. But I do wonder about that, because if they had fired Norvell, for the people that don't know, you get a 30-day window, because the real portal doesn't open up till, what did we say, January 1st, 2nd?
Second, yeah.
So the real portal doesn't open until January 2nd. But if you fire your coach, they can jump in the portal for the next 30 days after that firing. So, I would expect that there are going to be, a dozen Florida kids that'll probably jump into the portal, a dozen UAB kids. Hey, Colorado State fired their Norvell, so there's going to be some Colorado State guys that are in the portal. You do retain these guys for the rest of the season. They're not allowed to jump in the portal. Now, they can just not play. They can say, nah, I'm good. They can do that ugliness. But, yeah, I think that is one benefit, is that – and say if you're like let's say Elijah Moore, just to bring a guy, just pick a name out of a hat. I would expect, I would think that he would be a guy that would be looking to leave if the portal opened up tomorrow. Can't get on the field.
Yeah.
They were running out Gelsey as much as they were running out him against Pitt. He hasn't made any real impression here in 2 years. Well, what if somehow in the next month, for whatever reason, he gets more and more playing time and ends up with a 7-catch, 112-yard game? I know that's pie in the sky. It's not going to happen. I'm just giving you an example of there are, and then he's like, you know what? I kind of do like it here. I do like being a Seminole. That was fun. That was fun the way they cheered for me when I scored against Virginia Tech. Whatever it might be, I think there could be some benefits to maybe helping keep a few guys around by giving them some playing time that maybe they're not getting right now. But again, what would it matter, because it'll probably be a new staff.
Yeah,
they might not want Elijah Moore.
Yeah, it's the mailbag, so it's not my questions. But no one's asked this, so we've had to entertain what if they go 5-0? Man, what if they have an 8-game losing streak going into whatever, NC State or Florida. I mean, that's my thing. Let's say they miracle. Let's not say that. Let's say they lose to Wake Forest. How is anybody going to feel better about anything? And will this message still mean whatever it meant at face value that Michael Alford released? Because as bad as it sucks now, they lose another game, it's going to be worse. I know everyone's trying to see what rock bottom is. It's not rock bottom, and every loss will suck and compound and make things even worse.
Well, that's what it can get really ugly, right? Is imagine they lose to Wake 41-20. Imagine they go to Clemson and get their heads kicked in. Norvell, you can't fire him then.
Maybe they want him to quit. Maybe hey, finish out the string, big dog. Let's see what you're made of, you know?
Yeah, hey, we're paying you that money. You go wear it. I want you to talk to the media every day. That's where it gets. It's already untenable, but that's where it just gets gross. Like, we have to go talk to him. He has to go speak.
And it goes to Jeff's point. Sorry, Corey, to interrupt, but it goes to Jeff's point when we did our reaction that he thinks this is as much Mike Norvell has done as it is Michael Alford, because to say that we're going to back him up for the rest of the year when you still have 5 games left and then, 2 are imminently losable, right? They're all losable. So to put your name on a vote of confidence that's not really a vote of confidence, it's a very bizarre kind of turn of events after what happened on Saturday.
Yeah, it's more of just kicking the can down the road 5 weeks, and we all know it. That's what makes it so. I think Wisconsin, they did the same thing on Monday, where they've been awful too. I think they're 2-12 in their last 14 games, and Luke Fickell doesn't have a 13-0 season under his belt like Norvell. He's just been awful there. But they came out and showed him support, and then also asked for more donations, like more help financially, which, again, makes you think that maybe they want to keep him for another year. I don't see a scenario where Norvell survives this. So it's just going to be uglier and uglier. And if his team keeps laying eggs, I mean, there is a scenario where they just straight up give up. The coaches give up because they know they're not coming back. The players give up because they know a new coaching staff's coming in and none of this matters. And you get beat badly and soundly. And then what are we asking Norvell after games? What is he possibly saying to the fan base? Other than we're going to try to respond, we're going to try to fix this, when everybody knows you're not going to be the guy that gets to fix it. That's why when you know you're going to fire him anyway, you do it. You do it. You don't let it play out any longer, because it's not fair to the fans, number one, who I care about the most. It's also not fair to the players, who I care about second most, or the coaches, who I care about not much at all, but third most. It's not fair to anyone to just ride out this string like this. But I do wonder, do you think it puts you behind in making the next hire? Because don't you think they have to be behind the scenes?
Yeah.
Figuring out, because here's the issue is when's the Florida game? November 27th or something?
Sure.
Let's say signing day for the high school recruits is December 15th. I'm throwing out spitball dates.
29th.
If I was writing a story,
it's
folks,
November 29th, the Gator game.
Gator game is November 29th.
Yep.
National signing day for high school recruits, I'm going to say, is December 16th. What's that, 2.5 weeks?
Won't it be the first Wednesday in December?
Get out of here. Really?
I thought it's always been that. Yeah. Why is it pulling up these bad dates? December 3rd.
Oh, my gosh. You're telling me.
Early period, yeah.
So what are we doing? So who's going to be signing those players? Like, there's nothing that keeps Florida State right now. Let's just go pie in the sky. Let's use either the two JFs. Some people want Jimbo Fisher. Some people want John Franklin. Both of those guys don't have James Franklin. Sorry, who's John Franklin? Did he sign the Constitution?
He's the guy that helped Florida State beat Auburn because he was such a good scout quarterback,
right.
buddy.
John Franklin III. That's right. Star of one of the Netflix show.
Last chance you.
James Franklin or Jimbo Fisher. If you're going to hire either one of them, and again, I don't know how likely I would not hire Jimbo, and Franklin, I don't know how likely that is. But wouldn't it make sense to have him in the building?
Yes.
Like
with a GM that he wants.
Yeah.
Yes,
but
all
so
these things,
think about how expedited everything has to be. Where you're gonna fire Norvell November 30th, and then what? In 5 days, you're going to bring in a whole new coaching staff who then has to go re-recruit everybody that's already committed to Florida State, many of whom won't come, which won't be a huge loss with the way they've recruited lately. But then also, like, you've got to put together a recruiting class, and then you've got to keep your players. And you've got a month to do that. That turnaround time, that must be why Florida's already doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Florida wants Lane Kiffin, right? Clearly. That's who they want. Mike Bianchi wrote a column saying they have to go get him. I don't know that they're going to get him. But whoever they get, they won't announce until after the Florida State game either. So everybody's kind of in that same boat, right?
You would think, right? Like, especially if he's got if it is Kiffin and he's got a team in the playoff. I don't know if they're going to announce it or whatever. Right?
So how's he going to recruit for Florida? Yeah. And he would never say, "I'm going to Florida," while his team's in the middle of a playoff run.
Yeah.
So if they're going to wait on Kiffin, then they might not have a head coach until January 10th.
But you feel so good about Kiffin that you're like, we can survive a bad high school. I know that's the snowball that became an avalanche for Mike Norvell, like never having a really good high school class to build off of. But you probably think with Lane Kiffin, like, okay, we can live with not getting high school kids signed for this one period, and then we can be fine with the portal for this first go around. But Saxy Knoll. From my username, you can probably tell I'm a band geek.
Nice.
And a proud Marching Chief alum. A band director I know likes to say, practice makes permanent.
Okay.
And in band, you'd rarely have quality practice sessions result in performance disaster. So why do we see that with the football team?
They are two different things. Like, nobody's trying to tackle you while you blow the sax.
Yeah.
Do you say blow the sax or play the sax?
I think play the sax, blow the trumpet, maybe. Everything's play.
I mean, you're blowing, right?
Blow the bassoon.
Got a sax? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are other obstacles, like an entirely different team out there trying to keep you from doing what you're doing.
Well, second part of the question, too. Sorry, Corey, I didn't finish it. And how can the head coach be so seemingly out of touch with his program that he is consistently shocked by his team's performance disasters?
Yeah, that is a fair criticism, a very fair criticism, and I don't know. As I talked about 20 minutes ago with the schizophrenia of this program under Mike Norvell, like Willie was consistent, man. Kind of knew what you were getting there. 5-6 wins, some horrible losses, but they didn't beat. Who was the best team they played when he was here? Like, I can't even remember. He didn't lose to like a Notre Dame. I think they played. Like, they didn't go win at Notre Dame and South Bend,
right?
And then lose the next week to NC State by 4 touchdowns. Like, that's what Norvell does. And I don't know. I don't know why he thought his team was going to be so good last year and wasn't. I don't know why his team and him thought that one win over Alabama meant they were one of the best teams in the country, and clearly they weren't. Or that, maybe the fact that he brought in Gus and Tommy, which I think is a fine fit for an 8 or 9 win team, which I think this offense is good enough to look. This offense they should be 5-2. This offense has done enough for them to be 5-2, which is kind of what you were hoping for. The defense has lost those other 2 games. It wasn't good it wasn't good in the Miami game or the Stanford game, really. If you ask me, that 94-yard drive is just preposterous. So anyway, I don't know. I don't know how a head coach seemingly doesn't have, unless he's just the eternal optimist. But eternal optimism, and I'm an optimist. Really, you probably can't tell on this show, but I consider myself an optimist. I look at the good side of things, and I try to think that, I've been saying for 2 weeks now, they could win the rest of their games. And I still think they could win the rest of their games. But optimism isn't a strategy. And blind optimism, is cancerous. And you have to realize what you are and what you aren't and fix it. And Norvell obviously hasn't done that. And I do think that when the weight of the world is on the head coach, I do think the players feel that. And now there is a part of me, man, that thinks that now that he got a reprieve and a second chance, and we all kind of know he's done at the end of the season anyway, that he and his team might play looser. And they might play more like that team that played against Alabama. And they might go on a little bit of a run here. And then, oh, God, no. Are they going to keep this guy because he just won 4-1 in his last 5? Like, I don't think that's going to happen. But there is a part of me that thinks that the Band-Aid wasn't ripped off, but the fact that Alford was like basically saying we'll reassess at the end of 2025 season, we all know Norvell, save a miracle, is gone. His team knows that. Maybe they play a little looser. Like there's nothing left to lose anyway because he's already lost his job probably. We'll see how that works out. Wake Forest is in trouble, baby.
Hayden Walton, wake up. This is in no way attempting to defend Mike after that loss, but I have to ask.
That's good. It's good he's not defending that.
With everything I am seeing around the college football world, do we believe that there are any coaches out there that are completely 100% immune from ever having what has happened to Mike and his teams over the last 15 months happen to them? Somebody asked the question last week, Corey, about kind of, is there any guarantee that they won't mess up the coaching hire? Which I guess this is kind of like tangentially related. Like, is there any guarantee they'll get somebody who's not as snake bitten as Mike Norvell has been? It's worth discussing and elaborating on a little further with a little clearer picture involved as we get the cameras on and we crank up the energy. We're generating discussion. It's sparked by Cummins. Corey Clark, please.
I'm cranking it.
Give a button.
Cranking the lawnmower. Cranking the generator, I mean. Oh, yeah, and then I just push a button because it's electric.
There we go. We're generating discussion sparked by Cummins. Cummins Lifestyle. Give them a follow on their Instagram. You'll see all the awesome things you can do when you've got portable, reliable, quiet power in your arsenal. Cummins has been doing it for over 100 years. Portable generators, portable power stations, RV generators, marine generators, home backup generators. Man, your awesome buddy's truck is probably a Cummins. That's what they're doing. Give them a follow on Instagram, Cummins Lifestyle. Catch the fever, everybody. All right, Corey, let's put the question up on the screen from Hayden Walton. Congrats to Hayden. I think he was the bridesmaid last week, and now he's the winner. So congrats to Hayden. Yeah, man, is there anybody out there, anybody that is completely immune from the ups and downs, the bipolarity of Mike Norvell-led program?
Yeah, there's plenty of them that wouldn't. Nobody's like this. There aren't many head coaches that still have jobs that have swings like this. Man, nobody goes 13-0 and 2-10, and then beats Alabama and loses to Stanford. This is outrageous. This isn't normal. So yes, I definitely think there's a guarantee you could go. There are a lot of safe coaches to get. Guys you could go out. We talked about, like a Dan Mullen would be a coach that would not fall on his face. He's a good football coach. Weird guy, good football coach. I don't think Jimbo Fisher would ever have a 2-10 season. I don't know that he's anywhere capable of having a championship season again, and I'm not bringing him up because I think he's necessarily a viable candidate. I don't. But there are plenty of applicants you would have to this job that you would feel really confident about that they wouldn't do this. But can they get you to the level you're trying to get to? I don't. That's got to be the search. I don't want a guy that's just going to get you back on solid footing. You need a guy that you think can go win championships. That's what you're doing. That's why you're here. You're not at Florida State to win 7 or 8 games or go to bowls. You're to get into the playoffs and win championships. So that's the goal. There will be some risk there. There's some risk other than who, Aslan? We talked about it on yesterday's show. Kirby, Dabo, and Ryan Day are the only ones that have national championships. And I think those 3, and Nick Saban, are like the 4 people on earth that I think are guaranteed successes. Man, I don't even know if Ryan Day and Dabo isn't. Yeah. They don't even fall in that category. It's Kirby Smart and Nick Saban, who I would say, yes, if he comes to Florida State, they're immediately going to be a playoff team, and they're going to win some national championships at some point because they're awesome. Other than that, it's all a crapshoot. It's all a crapshoot. So, and I think as you said, can they screw it up? Absolutely. There's no guarantee that they won't, which makes it spending $50 million to get rid of something harder. But he doesn't work. It's not working with him. So you've got to jettison that to get to somebody who might be able. And look, it's not that hard to make Florida State good. It just isn't. Mike Norvell did it, for crying out loud. It's not that hard to make Florida State a playoff caliber team. You just got to go find the right guy. And they're out there. There's a lot of them out there that could do well at Florida State.
Yeah, and I don't know if the question is really intimating this, but we spoke about this bad luck that seems to be following Mike Norvell around, and I just don't know. I mean, maybe another show. If we had a third bye week, maybe I would audit everything. But it doesn't strike me as bad luck, and I don't think he's a horrible coach. But it just the 6 years of this just up and down craziness. Listen, I mean, we might be able to look back and find a Scott Frost-esque number for him in terms of like one possession losses. We mentioned, it's all going to be how they look. Like, what if they lose a bunch of games on a Hail Mary? It's like they lost the Jacksonville State game on a Hail Mary, kind of. Yeah. It's every possible way to lose. Like they've lost every possible remedy, any sort of move on a chessboard. There's been, the proper move made by FSU administration to help this coach out and this program out. So I just don't know what is left to figure out in terms of, can he do it? Can he be it? Is there somebody out there that maybe just doesn't have some sort of bad voodoo on him? I don't think it's that at all. It's to your point, Corey. I mean, it's just there are people out there that you will not have these horrible lows. Like, will you get 13-0? Maybe not, but Mike Norvell gave you 13-0, and he's also giving you all this heartache and all this heartburn. So why couldn't a guy like Willie Fritz, if you had 5 years of him, at some point find out a 12-1 season and get you into a playoff, for example? Not advocating for him particularly.
And obviously he wouldn't be a big name, but I think the question about are there coaches that are 100% immune to this? Yes, I think most coaches have this vaccine. They don't go 2-10 to 13-0 to 2-10. This is not normal. It's not normal to beat Alabama and lose to Stanford. This is Mike Norvell specific. Now, he's had some good teams too, and he had a really good program at Memphis that's carried on kind of just fine without him. But he had a good program at Memphis that he helped build, and he is a good football coach. He has had good football seasons. But I think this is specific to him. I don't look around the country and see teams do this. Like, I thought Indiana might fall on its face after its big run last year. What did they do? Now they look like they're the number 2 team in the country. Arizona State just knocked off Texas Tech after their run last year. Mike Norvell's team, if they were Arizona State, would be 1-5 right now. So that's what I think is the issue that most people or everybody has with Mike Norvell. It's not just there are a lot of people that are inconsistent. There are a lot of programs that are inconsistent. Nobody is this wildly inconsistent, and that has to fall on the head coach. There's something there that is specific to Mike Norvell, the way the way he runs a program that makes it susceptible to wild swings. And you don't need wild swings. Florida State is good. They say like, I don't know. I was trying to use an analogy and I couldn't. It's like if you're a good golfer, just fairways in the middle of the green. Yeah. Fairways in the middle of the green.
Fairways and greens.
Fairways, but even don't go with the flag. There's some risk there. Just middle of the green 2-putt. If you're one of these good golfers, you're gonna shoot. You're gonna score. I don't know. Even if you don't putt well, you'll score a 70. You'll be 2 under. And if you happen to putt well, you might be 6 under. But you're never gonna shoot a 97. But this is what Mike Norvell does. He won Augusta, and then shot 107 the next day. It just doesn't. It doesn't. You need guys. Florida State. And what I'm saying is, Florida State is a program. I think with the resources, we don't know what those are now. When you got to pay somebody this much money to not coach, but with the resources, with the fan base, with the recruiting in state, that if you can just get a golfer that can hit fairways and greens, you don't need Tiger Woods in his prime. You need a flipping Ernie Els, man. Just fairways, big smooth, big easy. Just fairways and greens, and you will be really good. You don't need to be shanking it all over the golf course, hitting it out of bounds, hitting a woman in her face with an errant drive. That's all been Mike Norvell on the golf course for the last 2 years. You just need fairways and greens, and Florida State will win again and win big as long as you avoid just horrible mistakes and wild swings.
It is crazy on the way out on this segment, Corey, that, I think at some point we probably got asked in the offseason, would you be more surprised if they, won the national championship or went 2-10 again? Or if they made the playoff or if they went 2-10 again? And I just remember saying I would be shocked You got to be shocked beyond all belief if they went 2-10 again. They're not going to go 2-10. They've already won 3 games. That has been eliminated. But to even think that coming off 2-10 and all the rehabilitation, recalibration, reloading that you did, that you can maybe wind up going 4-8, like that's just as equally as shocking
3-9.
and disgusting.
You're staring 3-9 in the face, and if you don't beat Alabama in game 1, you could have dang well gone 2-10. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable how long that portable power station lasts. Unbelievable how portable the portable generator is. Check it all out over at Cummins Lifestyle. It's all one word. It's on Instagram. Give them a follow. We would certainly appreciate it.
Form and function, fit and futuristic. Ditch the old clunky stale wallet for a wallet from Ridge. Featuring premium materials for a premium feel. It'll be the last wallet you're ever going to buy because Ridge comes with a lifetime warranty. Oh, yeah, and free shipping. And a 99-day risk-free trial. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off at Ridge by using code WAKEUP at checkout. Just head to ridge.com and use the code WAKEUP, and you're all set. I like this thing, guys. I've got better lower body mobility. Is it because I haven't been sitting on a wallet for like the last 6 months, or is it because I've been doing a little bit more mobility workout at the gym? I don't know, but it fits right into your front pocket. Piece of cake. And I'm not skinny jean guy. Okay, let's be honest. Like, I know you guys think my fashion styles might be a little too flamboyant, but I don't wear skinny jeans. But I wear slim fit stuff, and it fits perfectly. So if you got the baggy stuff, piece of cake. Front pocket, all good. When you do your check before you leave the house, you won't have to tap the back of your back. You'll just be like, front pocket, I'm good to go. Check out Ridge, ridge.com. Use the promo code WAKEUP to save 10% off your order.
The following message is brought to you by BetterHelp. October 10th is World Mental Health Day, and this year BetterHelp is saying, thank you, therapists. BetterHelp therapists have helped over 5 million people worldwide on their mental health journeys. That's millions of stories, millions of journeys, and behind every one is a therapist who showed up, listened, and helped someone take a step forward. Moments in therapy can change lives. This World Mental Health Day, BetterHelp is honoring those connections and the therapists who make them possible while showing how easy it is to get guidance from a licensed therapist online with BetterHelp. BetterHelp therapists work according to a strict code of conduct and are fully licensed in the United States. BetterHelp does the initial matching work for you so you can focus on your therapy goals. Their 12 plus years of experience and industry-leading match fulfillment rate means they typically get it right the first time. BetterHelp has served over 5 million people globally, and it works with an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. Listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/warchant. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/warchant. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com, warchantbogo, your promo code. Teacher Noel Aslan. I was reading the boards after you picked Stanford to win, and to say the least, they were not kind to you. We talked about this the other day. Thank you. Yeah. Then lo and behold, look what happened in the game. So many players showed no heart or leadership. I honestly don't think we win another game this year. Keep calling it like it is, bud. Thank you. I will try to. Random_John. Good morning, guys. Gene mentioned firing Norvell and his staff plus hiring a new one could cost around $100 million. Toss in a football-only facility and stadium renovation, and everyone's asking where would the money come from? Did anyone stop to weigh the risk of disaster before signing that extension with Mike Norvell? Why don't we hear more about administrative accountability? Fire them all. Random_John. I'm sure by the time you've listened to this, hopefully you've listened to Jeff Cameron. I'm sure Jeff went through that with a fine-tooth comb on Monday's program. Because, again, when we spoke to him on Monday morning on the reaction piece, Corey, it very much for Jeff, this isn't as simple as just firing money's obviously part of it, but it's not just as simple as firing the head coach and going and getting a new one. You might need to figure out the AD situation, possibly, and then who you're going to entrust to help you find that person, and then that person find you the coach, or are you going to be the guy that wants to go to find the coach if you're, I don't know, Peter Collins? There's a lot of layers to this, and yeah, I don't think this should just simply be, when he talks about reassessing everything, Michael Alford, I hope there's somebody that's also going to reassess possibly him.
Yeah, it's all on the table, right? I definitely think that because this has been that was just, there's no other way to look at it. It was a disastrous extension. At the time, hindsight is always, we get it, 2020. But 2010, really. 2020 is just normal, guys. People have this misconception that 2020 vision is quote-unquote perfect vision. It's just normal vision. It means you see something from 20 feet that a normal person sees from 20 feet. Ted Williams had like 2012 vision, which is why he was one of the best hitters that ever lived. He saw something from 20 feet that most people could only see from 12 feet. So he had very good eyesight. Like, he had better than 2020. So 2020 isn't perfect. I'm just throwing that out there. It's just normal. Average, I guess. And I went to optometry school. You knew that, Aslan, my former life, and I'm just passionate about eyeballs. Obviously hindsight is what it is. We all wanted him to stay when Alabama made that run at him when Saban retired. But yes, there need to be repercussions for making bad decisions, and this was a disastrous decision that has, hopefully it's just a 2-year blip or a 3-year blip, but is, really, really negatively impacted the Florida State football program, where you're not sure that how much money you're going to have to spend on a roster and another coaching staff because you got scared about losing your head coach. But the fear was real. It's not like that was manufactured, Alabama's interest in Florida in Mike Norvell. Bruce Feldman was all the reason I believe that is Feldman. And that's why there was a tweet he had. I brought this up. There was a tweet he had when all that was going down, January 10th or 11th of 2024, where he said he gave all the reasons why Alabama would be interested in Mike Norvell and why he shot to the top of their list. And it looks like they're moving forward with that. Bruce Feldman isn't someone that just tweets to tweet.
Right.
And he doesn't tweet innuendo or rumor or speculation. He's dialed in. He's dialed in around the country, but especially to the big programs. And somebody at Alabama was telling him that. I don't think he was getting that from Sexton. He was getting that from the administration side at Alabama. And so when I saw that tweet, I'm like, oh, he's gone. Norvell's gone. And then, lo and behold, it didn't happen. And whether DeBoer was their first choice or their second choice, Norvell was one of their top 2 choices, and he got himself a raise out of it. Fine. But, yeah, you could ask yourself, look, are we going to leverage ourselves to the hilt with this guy who will not have Jordan Travis as his quarterback next year? Or is Brock Glenn going to be the guy? Like, are we sure this guy has this program stabilized for long-term success? And that's why ADs get paid money, to make those types of determinations. That's why the power brokers have to do their due diligence. In that contract, the buyout especially is absurd. Like, why can't you, Aslan, why can't these universities, you add incentives, like if you get to the playoffs, you get an extra $250,000. Yeah. You get to the national championship game, you get an extra $1 million. Mm-hmm. Well, how's about if you win less than 3 games, you give 80% of it back? Like, what? Because wouldn't a coach believe in himself enough to know, well, that's never going to happen?
Yeah.
Sure, I'll sign that. If I go 4-8, I owe you $6 million. Sure, because if I win those extra 4 games in the playoffs, you're going to owe me an extra $5 million. If I go below 6 wins, if I have a losing season, I get why can't that be part of the stipulation? No, they're always one-sided. And so yes, I blame the president. Not the president of the United States, the president of Florida State. I blame Alford. I blame everybody in the Board of Trustees, all the power money brokers that made that decision so seemingly haphazardly to keep a coach that clearly wasn't worth keeping. I don't blame them for it, but hindsight is what it is. We get to blame them now for it, and there are repercussions. And the question is, okay, who's going to be making the decision on this next head coach? In this next salary to sign off on, when you clearly flubbed the last one horrifically. Again, they had no way to know that this program was going to turn into one of the worst in the Power 4. No way to know. No signs. Thought Norvell was about all the right things, thought he had the bones and the DNA and all that culture built in, where Florida State was off to long-term success. I get why they wanted him here. But you also have to have a little there has to be, I don't know, there has to be some sort of repercussion. When you make bad decisions, that's life, man. There are reactions to your action.
Armchair Osceola, my concern right now is that making a head coaching hire would be like catching a falling knife. No other industry has this buyout structure with no performance guarantees, to your point, Corey.
Yep.
Future head coaching compensation structures should look something like this. $500,000 base, $1 million for each win, $250,000 bonus if you have a win over a top 25 team, $500,000 bonus with each playoff win, and no buyout. That's it. End of story. 5-7 with 2 top 25 teams, $6.75 million, and we can still fire you. 11-2 with 1 playoff win, $12 million, and the chance to earn that money again next year. All right, that's something. I like it.
I'm all about it. It would never happen. We know it. That's what it should look like, though. I don't know when this flipped like it's flipped. I know Bowden didn't Bowden get a lifetime contract back in the late 90s, early 2000s or something? They did all these goofy things. Once, they were glorified high school coaches for a long, long time. They got paid handsomely, but they were treated like high school coaches. They were high school coaches. They were making $450,000. Now that's what that's less than what a wide receivers coach makes now. The money is outrageous. Yes, the contracts are asinine. They're asinine. And I would love for there to be like I'm sure there's like a convention where all the power universities meet, right? All the power university presidents meet to discuss like academia in the future of colleges in this university or in this country. There's got to be annual conferences, right? Why would this not be at the top of every agenda? What in the flip are we doing? Yeah. This is insanity. Because there aren't there's no other, it's like they get tenure, these college football coaches. And there's just no other profession that's like this. If the Falcons, and they probably could and should, fire their offensive coordinator and head coach at the end of this year, we'll see how it goes, they shouldn't have to owe him $46 million. And I'm all about incentive-based contracts, because if you're a coach with any kind of ego, I'll sign that because I'll sign that because we're going to win a bunch of games. But the agents won't, because you don't want to let the other coaching fraternity down. You don't want to set that precedent where these coaches don't get their golden parachutes whenever they don't make a bowl. They get their $30 million golden parachutes, or in Norvell and Franklin's case, $50 million parachutes. But I'm all for it. I would love to do it. I would love Florida State to attack it like that. But you're not going to get a James Franklin or a Jimbo Fisher, or, well, maybe you'd get Jimbo. But you wouldn't get a big name. I don't think you'd get the South Florida coach. You wouldn't get anybody that's coached at a real program to come and take a deal like that, I don't think. But, man, think about how much belief you'd have in a guy that would do that. But who knows? Jimmy Sexton wouldn't let them sign that. He'd tell them it was illegal. He'd quit. He'd quit the business.
We got a lot of names for coaches. 5'9", our guy. What's that avatar of his? Is that Bubba Watson? Looks like Bubba Watson, maybe. 5'9" wants Missouri. What if Florida State went to Missouri for their next head coach? Imagine Corey and Ira doing a shot of Elia Vitamin Energy Drinkowitz with the new head coach after a win in Tuscaloosa next season. Our guy Bakari says, what about Fran Brown? Fran Brown's a guy that's been around Kirby, got that coaching tree, great recruiter, doing a good job at Syracuse. Steel Knoll says, wake up, gentlemen, first-time poster, daily listener since the quarterback battles of Hornibrook and Blackman. Would you guys be open to entertaining the idea of Dan Mullen? He says he's looking forward to meeting me and having the chance to talk punk music one day. I, too, look forward to that. And then Jimbo 11 was saying Jeff wants James Franklin. What are our chances of landing him? James Franklin, Elia Drinkwitz, Fran Brown, Dan Mullen. I don't know, you want to power rank those guys, Corey?
Yeah, I would say Franklin is my number one for the reasons I've mentioned. The main one being the recruiting aspect, loading a roster with players. I just want to repeat this. Let me do, because I know people hear James Franklin and don't like it. So remember at Vanderbilt, he took over Vanderbilt in 2011. And Vanderbilt had been horrible. They went 6-7 his first year, then 9-4, 9-4. They won. They had a winning record in the SEC his last 2 years at Vanderbilt. Won 2 bowl games back when bowl games mattered. But yeah, that's not normal. And then he takes over Penn State. His first 2 years he goes 7-6 each year because he was taking over. Remember where that program was. Just understand everything that's going on. Then 11-3, 11-2, 9-4, 11-2. They were. I think they were like probably going to be top 5 in the country in 2020, and then COVID happened. So I don't hold COVID against them. He went 4-5, 7-6 in 2021 during another COVID type-ish season. Then 11-2, 10-3, 13-3. The guy has, other than COVID, has had at least 9 wins in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 8 seasons. At least 9 wins, and 6 of those were 10 wins. One of them was a 13-win team. And he's had 33 players drafted in the last 5 years, including 7 first-rounders. That's the guy I want at the head of my program because he identifies and evaluates talent. But I don't know how likely it is. I would love to. I think he'd be a slam dunk, home run. He'd be the best name you could get at Florida State. I think he'd have hunger, too. He'd have something to prove because he's irate that he got fired by Penn State, and he's going to be like, oh, yeah? Like, I want a coach that's hungry. I want a coach that doesn't feel like he's arrived when he gets to Florida State. Like, oh, my work's paid off. Like, no, I'm just now getting to work because I want to show all those idiots in Happy Valley how dumb they were to fire me. I want a coach with a chip on his shoulder. So Franklin would be my number 1. Out of those other guys, probably Mullen. Mullen's a weirdo, but I think that'd be a good hire.
I don't know. If you're going to be weird, why not take the guy from Missouri?
I don't think that's possible. I don't. What didn't he just sign a big contract?
Yeah.
I like him. I think he's a good coach. I don't know. Again,
I'm just saying power rank him. Maybe not in terms of like what's most likely, but if you had to power rank those guys.
Yeah, I would say. Probably Franklin. Then then Franklin, then him. Absolutely. Is it Drinkowitz, right?
I think it's just Drinkwitz. I keep adding an I in the middle there. Yeah.
Because he wins. He's pretty darn good at Missouri in the SEC. That's a tough schedule, and they're very competitive. And he gets good players. He's recruited good players, and he shows he can win.
And he's likable weird. I don't think Dan Mullen is all that likable.
No, he's not likable at all.
Dan
Mullen. He's a weird guy, but he's a good football coach.
Yes.
But and he's also done it in the SEC. He's been around it again, just like Drinkwitz has. So that would be it'd be interesting with someone like him because I don't think Missouri's ever going to win a national championship. I think Florida State has proven it can 3 times already. And there would be some allure, I think, to being able to recruit in the state of Florida, to wear the Florida State logo on your polo when you're walking into a gym. It still matters more than Missouri. No kids grow up wanting to play for Missouri. No kids grow up watching the Missouri. Remember that Missouri Texas A&M game? Nobody does that. The Florida State Clemson, Florida State Florida, Florida State Miami, those are big-time games.
I remember
Florida
Missouri got 5 downs to beat Colorado. Or Colorado got 5
Colorado
downs to beat
got
Missouri.
5 downs to beat them in 1990. That got Colorado a share of the national championship back when they handled the postseason really well in this sport. Just no notes, perfect job, guys. I think Franklin's my number 1 out of that group. Drinkwitz number 2, and then Mullen. Fran Brown, I get it because he went 10-3 last year. Well, he's now 3-4 in his second year.
But his quarterback's gone. But you need to be able to have a good.
Yeah, they're all. Yeah, they have no answers without their quarterback. They look gross. They're going to probably end up with 4-8. And how do you sell that to a fan base that just went 4-8? Hey, the coach we just hired went 4-8 too in this conference, the same conference. I don't think Fran Brown is going to go to a bigger. He's not going to take that step up until he has another good year. Because right now it kind of looks like the anomaly.
Yeah.
It came in like Norvell's in 2022-23. So, I think Drinkwitz, Franklin, Mullen are all more established as consistent winners. But, it's all – and Mullen is at UNLV right now. They're 6-1. And that's not why I would hire him because he's kicking ass in Las Vegas. It would be because of the – at Mississippi State he was – 9 wins, 7 wins, 8 wins, 7 wins, 10 wins, 9 wins, 6 wins, 8 wins. Then goes to Florida immediately, 10-3, 11-2. And then 8-4 during the COVID year. And then he has a backup season in 2021, he gets fired. But this guy can coach, and he's proven he can win games in the SEC. That would be an appealing candidate for me if Franklin said no. Or I'd go after Jeff Brom. There's a lot of names you'd go after, but Mullen would not. Mullen seems like a pretty safe hire, right?
Yes.
Like you're going to win some games with him. He's not going to put out an embarrassing product like the guy you just hired did.
Last one for the day. We'll get to the rest of these throughout the week. We probably will take a respite at some point, although who knows? There might be just continuing news coming down in a cavalcade. And we're supposed to be speaking to coordinators later today on Tuesday, and we're supposed to get Mike on Wednesday. Again, this was the plan on Friday. But really, what's really changed? They lost a football game. The AD's like, we're not changing anything, so that schedule should remain in place. NYC, how did Mike lose this team so quickly? For the second straight year this has happened, different staff, different players. What is wrong with his message that Mike is delivering? Why does this team have issues with adversity? Curious to hear your thoughts. Corey, it's just anything that I say is like complete conjecture. And to me, it's a confluence of so much thing, like the way the schedule worked out. Who knows if they come out and look good if they open the season against Pitt. I just think the months and months of being told just how bad they are. And listen, I was part of the problem. Like I'm castigating Tommy for talking smack about Alabama before the season, and he goes and proves himself right. So I don't want to say they're a victim of their schedule in terms of what the Alabama game was, but just to have that game and then two nobodies, and then you start feeling really good, and then you have to go to a tricky game against Virginia. The way the schedule worked out was not favorable. And then after the Virginia game, if they play Pitt after Virginia, maybe they do beat Pitt that time. I don't know if they beat, if they play Miami this week, Miami coming off of a loss to Louisville, if all that stuff works out differently, who knows how it falls out. But I just think, again, this is just conjecture. You had so many guys come from less than places. I think Deuce is the only one that might have, come from a same program and not necessarily definitely taken a jump up. But you've been doubted. That's why you found yourselves a place like Vanderbilt and Boston College and Memphis. So then you come to Florida State and then you have this instant success. You start to feel really good about yourself, especially after everybody told you how bad you were and you believed in yourself. You said that our goal is to have the number one offense in the country. And then you come out and have the number one offense in the country for a few weeks. So to have all that great surge of success, and then they kind of get punched in the mouth for maybe being a little too overconfident, a little sloppy against Virginia, then you kind of look around like, all right, who's gonna stabilize this? Who's going to make this stop? And then you have to go and play Miami the next week. It's hard for anybody to try to rally this team after they lost to Virginia and play Miami. I just think ultimately you've got a bunch of guys who probably, think they're maybe just a little bit better than they truly are, and they had every reason to think they're as good as they thought they were in their heads because of the way they dismantled Alabama. But ultimately, you need to be able to be buttoned down and focused and disciplined for 60 minutes once a week, man. Once a week, brother. Just 60 minutes. Give me 60 minutes. I just don't think they're built that way with all the pieces they have, and it's just been such a short, quick, tumultuous turnaround with a whole new coordinator and everything. I just think the lack of just being through the fires together makes you look around and not know what to do when the fire starts getting really close to you.
It could also just be, and that's true, all that's true. I would say, that defense, and I meant to bring this up earlier, on Saturday night, Edwin Joseph played really well in the second half. Had a couple pass breakups, almost had an interception. Like, he came back from that disastrous stretch and played well. And I thought the defense, again, they're playing a horrible offense without their starting quarterback and their starting running back. But I thought they played well in the second half after the nonsensical 94-yard drive they gave up.
Yeah,
they do fight for him. They have not just laid down. I think it just might be a matter of they're not that good. They don't have good enough players. And again, that is an indictment of the head coach. It's his team, it's his players. That's not a pass. And also, when the offense isn't any good, they're not any good. In the second half against Pitt, in the whole game against Stanford, the offense isn't any good because the quarterback's not any good. Because the quarterback's hurt. Why is the quarterback not any good? Why is Thomas Castellanos your quarterback? because of all the failures you made over the last 6 years, bringing in quarterbacks, that you had to go get this guy. So why you had to bring in Gus Malzahn? Because of your own failures. So these aren't all passes. I'm just saying I don't know that he necessarily lost the team as if they – and I know I said earlier they quit. They didn't quit, man. We know what quit looks like. Good grief. We've seen enough over these last 8 years as Florida State watchers. We know what a team that quit looks like. This team hasn't done that yet. They're just not – their offense just isn't playing well. And when their offense isn't playing well, they can lose to anyone. If the offense continues to play like it was, they beat Pitt. If it played like it in the second half, they beat Pitt. And they beat Stanford by 3 touchdowns if it had played its normal game. But it didn't because the quarterback's hurt. The quarterback's not any good when he's hurt. And that all falls on the head coach. So I don't know if it was – I don't think it's like – I know we hear the stories about the locker room, and clearly this team doesn't have great leadership. We get it.
Yeah, they don't because – what was Elijah Herring having to do at Memphis? Like the gravity of trying to pick up the pieces after a loss at Memphis pales in comparison to trying to pick up. Like whatever Tommy dealt with at Boston College, a loss there was not nearly the magnitude of what they must have felt like on the plane ride from Charlottesville.
Think about his interview, Tommy's interview after the Virginia loss. And he was smiling. He was saying, that's what I told our guys. We'd have to keep our smile on our face because we beat ourselves, but we're good. We're fine. It's just one loss. Well, buddy, losing games at Chestnut Hill, that's a tree falling in a forest. Losing games at Florida State when you're the number 5 team in the country or whatever, that ain't that. And that pressure mounts. It mounts on the head coach, and that trickles down to the players. And there's, as you pointed out, there's a lot of guys that aren't used to having to try to pick up the pieces in a real big-time program in the weight of expectations and the pressure that comes with that. And clearly it's affected these guys. Tommy has not been the same guy. I know he's been banged up, but he has not been the same guy. He's not smiling anymore. I thought he was crying after the Miami game. Like, what happened? It was 1 week later.
And who knows if he's going to – I mean, he has to be in concussion protocol. I know they have an off week this week, but I don't even know if he would be ready to go for the Wake Forest game. But I digress.
Yes. But even if he – yes, and if he is, it'd be nice to get him off his feet for a couple weeks and get him back healthy if he can play. But either way, that you see that weight of – it's like they say about the president, like you age 30 years in the 4 years you're the president. And so when you're the quarterback at Florida State, it is a different ball game than when you're the quarterback at Boston College. And Tommy, you can tell it's weighing on him, man. You could see him on the sideline. There was no energy there. It was relief when he scored, and probably pain, but he was not excited. He was not taking a bow. He was not gregarious with his teammates on the sideline. He was sitting there when they showed him on the bench looking kind of stone-faced and just the weight, man, it changes you. If you can't handle it, it can change you. And I say all that not to take a shot at Tommy, but I think that starts from the top.
Yep. I
think it starts from the top. This guy – he lets it all affect him too much. That outside noise nonsense. He cares too much. He just does. And I was thinking about this too, man. We don't know. They might not practice special teams anymore. But if they're practicing it as much as they always have, I do think that's a reason for some of these mistakes is because they think, man, we've been told by this guy we're going to win games because we're so good on special teams. This is our time to shine. This is where we run the game because we know what we're doing. We're ahead of the curve. They don't practice like we practice, and we're going to dominate. All I have to do is make this play. And so they feel a pressure to make a play when a play isn't there. Why in the world are you jumping off sides on 4th and 4? Oh, yeah, because we take special teams seriously, and I'm going to block this thing and run it back to the house. Buddy, have some game awareness. Who cares if this kid makes this 30-yard field goal, which he missed, by the way. That's what I just think they put too much pressure on themselves because it comes from there is not a lot of looseness from the top. And there wasn't with Jimbo either, and I think that caught up with his program when he was here. It was fine with Jameis. Jameis offset Jimbo in a beautiful way. Nobody else could really do that. And there's nobody and I think Jared Verse and Jordan Travis was his own guy, but they offset the seriousness of Norvell in their own way. And they gave their teammates confidence. I don't think that happens with this team. I think you need a counterbalance. to Mike Norvell's full-time urgency and full-time seriousness. And he jokes around with guys. We hear him in the hallways. He's not like a taskmaster, but they know how much it means to him. And I think that weighs on everyone. Or I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. I'm an optometrist, like I told you guys earlier.
He's also 1/3 of Seminole Headlines. They'll be talking to everybody from 1 to 3 o'clock this afternoon. Again, we are scheduled to be speaking to the
Not Ira. Ira's going to be Ira's still in California, buddy. It's
Okay.
funny. He just thought this was going to be a sleepy bye week, and he had a vacation planned. And then all this is – I mean, it's not a vacation. He's still working, but he had a trip with his wife planned to take advantage, like I did in Ireland. So it'll be 2/3 of Seminole Headlines.
Okay. Well, check it out, 1 to 3 o'clock. Again, we'll have coordinator interviews probably around 11:30 or so in the morning. Live updates from there via Corey Clark's fast typing. So
How crazy is it with Mullen? He finished his first year at Florida, he finished 6th in the country. The next year he finished 7th. And the year after that he finished 12th. And then they fired him before the Florida State game.
Yep. Because he didn't like to recruit and he was mean.
Yeah. He is a weirdo, man.
Meanie.
That Darth Vader thing. Odd duck, but he's a good football coach. Yeah.
It's been a good podcast. You guys are a great audience. We appreciate you. Hit the thumbs up on the way out. Rate, review, subscribe. He's Corey Amazon. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Warchant BOGO. Buy one, get one free.